Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to look at how the USE minis unfolded yesterday, which was the 28th of March. I want to particularly look at the ES because we have some very interesting setups here. You see we have a TS4 buy setup here that actually nailed the very bar of the low of the day. We had a couple of sell setups here. Remember, for more experienced users, we don't tend to use the STF color, we go to the higher time frame chart. So let's do that to establish the larger degree trend direction, because remember, we don't want to take all setups, we just want to take the setups that are in the direction of the large degree trend. For this we go to a time frame between 3 and 5 time frames higher. So as we're looking at a 3-minute chart, we go out to the 15-minute chart. If you're trading, say, 15-minute Forex, you'd go out to, say, an hourly chart, or perhaps if you're trading daily stocks, you'd go out to a weekly chart. So here's the 28th. You can see the market opened up and then started to come back down. And this here is where our TS4 buy setup was on our 3-minute chart. So let's see, first and foremost, what the large view trend is. Well, normally we look to place DPs from prior highs or lows. So here's the last high. We place the decision point from here, and you can see we've had 2 consecutive closes above that on the prior day. So the large view trend was definitely up. If we want to use our Elliott wave tool, and we place our cursor here, right mouse click and do Elliott wave intermediate, you can see that it found this as a wave 4, and we're right in our wave 4 WPT. So on the higher time frame chart, this was quite clearly a large degree uptrend, and we're anticipating that the market was going to rally. So let's take this all off. In fact, as you notice, let's leave the wave 4 on there because that's quite nice. Let's just leave that there. There's our wave 4. So now if we go back to our 3-minute chart, that means that this TS4 buy setup is in the direction of the large degree uptrend, and these sell setups here are against it. Therefore, you want to be looking for long setups. Let's right mouse click over this blue buy bar, do analysis, and here's our trade setup. Remember, we use correct position sizing to vary the number of lots, contracts or shares to keep our initial risk small and under control, in this case less than a 2% on a sample $20,000 account. Remember, you can easily change accounts. For example, here's a €50,000 account with 2% risk, and here all our position sizing is done in euros. So whatever your base account is with your broker, you can keep all your position sizing done in that base account rather than the assets, rather than the actual currency of the asset class. Remember, because the E-minis will be trading in dollars. So this means if you're in Europe, you can do your risk in euros if you wish. But I'll just go back to $20,000 on a 2% risk. So this means you'd have been long with your initial stop down here. Your target would have been up here, and at the target the profit would have been 3R. In other words, 3 times the initial risk. So you're taking a $300 initial risk and turning it into $900. What was also good about this particular target is it nailed pretty much the high of the day for you. Here you go, look at that. There was the high of the day. That was your profit target. What a great place to come out. At this particular point in time, the STF was weak, and therefore that signified that you'd want to be coming out as well. So what an absolutely brilliant trade, where you had the TS4 buy setup nailing the very bar of the low of the day and the profit target coming out there and nailing pretty much the high of the day, well within a few ticks of the high of the day there. Absolutely brilliant. So it's the best a day trader could do. So an absolutely brilliant trade. But wouldn't it be nice if we had another trade set up off this high here as well? So I'll just take this off. I'll go back to your 15-minute chart and just show you what our larger degree target would have been as well. Remember, as well as the Elliott wave pattern, we use our DPs. Why do we do these? Because these are leading indicators. They're on the chart in advance. So as soon as this TS4 had come in and the market started to rally, in other words, this pivot down here had been established, you could have gone back to the prior high, right mouse click, done decision point, and then this level would have been on the chart in advance. And I cannot stress that enough, is before the market even got there, this level would have been there on the chart for you. If we go down to the 3-minute chart, you can see it stays there for you as well. So as you were in this long trade going up, you knew that this was larger degree resistance, and this is, in other words, this was an area of where the ES was likely to make a high and then make a reversal, and that's exactly what it did. Nailed the high absolutely perfectly. If we now look at our volume, our VS or volume spike indicator, you can see that this bar here had a VS spike. Can you see it was red there? The bar of the 1406 bar. That meant there was unusually high volume going on in that bar. Why was that of interest? Well, we like bars like this that break psychologically important highs. So if I put a high tag on this previous high right at the beginning of the day, you can see most amateur traders would have thought this was a very good swing pivot. So when the market broke above this on high volume, most amateurs would say, oh, this is a breakout, and therefore go long. But can you see what happened with our MTPredictor tools? It went up, it hit our large degree resistance area absolutely perfectly, then reversed back down with a red sell bar on that bar there, the 1409 bar. That means that the volume on the previous bar, the 1406 bar, was not buying, it was actually selling. It was professionals coming in wanting to sell or short the market, take profits on the longs, and then look to reverse to go short. In other words, they are then going the opposite way of what the amateurs do. So do you want to be with the professionals or the amateurs? Well, obviously you want to be the professionals. So how can we then do a trade setup in and around this? Well, we can get a target for this, and that's the last swing pivot. If we come back down here, here's the swing pivot, right mouse click, do decision point. In fact, actually what I'll do is I'll just clear this off and I'll use our training mode to show you how this would have looked at the time. There's the very bar at the time. There's your VS bar coming through. Here's your red sell bar. Should have gone down here, right mouse click, decision point. This would have been your initial target. We then use our risk reward tool where we can place our entries manually. So we click on the bar of our sell, click on the bar of where our stop would be. In this case it's the same, and we then come down to our target there, and at the target we can see it would be a potential profit of 2.1R, in other words twice the initial risk. So that would be a good trade to take. If we now turn our training mode off, you can see that then managed to take a sell setup right at the very bar of the high of the day as well, so you'd have been short down there. So in other words, yesterday we managed to first and foremost have a buy setup. If I clear everything off, a buy setup, I'll just take that high tag off as well, off the low of the day, or the very bar of the low of the day here, which then got you in long. You'd have held long all the way up to your first target there, which also would have been the 15-minute or higher time frame resistance. You'd have come out at that target because our STF was weak at the time. In fact, there's actually divergence there as well, showing weakness, for a nice 3R profit. Let's clear that all off. You'd have then seen your volume spike coming in on this bar here. You'd have then set up a short trade into the DP from the previous low there, and you'd have had another, oops, sorry, I missed that, had another short trade, or a short trade coming down here for another trade off the very bar of the high of the day for another 2R profit. So yesterday we caught the very bar of the low of the day, we caught the very bar of the high of, high of the day. Our 15-minute high time frame resistance had that level on the chart in advance, which nailed the high for you. You then got a second trade down here for 2R off the high of the day as well, which is our VS setup. So nailing the low, nailing the high for two profitable trades, and plus 3R and plus 2R, in other words plus 5R overall. So an absolutely fantastic day for MTPredictor users yesterday on the ES.